There's a real buzz building within the Star Citizen community, and it's all centered on a new system that has been part of the game's lore for nearly a decade: Nyx. While nothing is officially confirmed, a growing amount of evidence from data mining and snippets of information elsewhere suggests that this long-awaited system may be on the horizon. So today, let's take a look at what Nyx is, its history, and what its arrival would mean for the future of the persistent universe. To understand the excitement of Nyx, you have to look at its unique development history. It was one of the earliest systems promised, always intended to be a almost lawless frontier. However, its most famous location, the asteroid city of Levski, has a story of its own. Many long-term players will remember that for a number of years, Levski and its home asteroid of Delamar were temporarily placed within the Stanton system. This was a deliberate choice by the developers to give players a dedicated, lawless hub while the core technology for the new systems was still in production. Then, with the release of Alpha 3.12, Delamar and Levski were removed, with the official word being that they were being reworked for their eventual proper home, that home being Nyx. The in-game lore of Nyx is fairly deep. The system's primary claim to fame is its history as a sanctuary. During the oppressive Mesa era, political activists and refugees fleeing from the UEE's tyranny established a hidden settlement on an asteroid called Delamar. Calling themselves the People's Alliance, they created Levski as a beacon of independence. Even after the fall of the Mesas, Nyx has retained that identity. It's a system for those who live outside the UEE's laws and ideals. This has understandably made it a haven for smugglers and pirates. But let's take a deeper look at Levski itself. The People's Alliance chose the asteroid of Delamar for one key reason: it was the perfect hiding place. Located deep within Nyx's dense asteroid field, it was incredibly difficult for the UEE military to find and assault the location. What began as a desperate mining operation to create a hidden shelter organically grew over decades into a true settlement. The station wasn't assembled in orbit like other stations, it was excavated and carved directly from the rock itself, creating a labyrinth of industrial corridors, workshops, and huge common areas. This origin is reflected in its name, Levski, chosen in honor of an ancient Earth revolutionary, forever cementing its identity as a place built on defiance. This history is literally carved into the station's walls itself. As you walk through Levski, you'll see monuments dedicated to its founders, like the prominent statue of Anthony Tanaka, a key figure in the anti-Mesa resistance. These aren't just decorations, they're a constant reminder of the station's core values. Even after the Mesa regime fell, Levski never rejoined the UEE. The People's Alliance maintained its own independence, and their collectivist ideals helped shape the culture. Its purpose shifted from a secret rebel base to a haven for anyone living on the fringes. Everyone from grizzled miners, smugglers, survivalists, and potentially outlaws are all drawn to this one place. And while it may not be completely lawless, there are still opportunities for some more morally ambiguous activities. This potentially sets the stage for a very specific type of gameplay centered on human conflict in relatively unclaimed space. But from all the information we have seen recently that has been coming out of data mines and leaks, the only dangers in Nyx might not be entirely human. While the system's classic lore focuses on pirates and outlaws, more recent missions and leaks have introduced the possibility of a menacing external threat coming to Nyx, the Vanduul. At a previous CitizenCon, it was mentioned that Nyx could feature occasional Vanduul incursions. This adds a completely new dynamic to the system. Looking at the star map, we can see why. Nyx has a jump point collection to the Virgil system, a system that tragically fell to the Vanduul. This potentially positions Nyx as a backdoor of sorts for the Vanduul raiding parties to bypass the UEE defences and strike into those lawless territories. So while you might be fighting off a pirate cutlass one minute, you might be facing a Vanduul scythe the next. Now let's take a look at the system's layout. The system contains 3 planets. The innermost planet is Nyx I. This is a coreless and rocky world with a tragic history. Once rich in resources, it was subjected to massive and unregulated mining operations that stripped it bare of most of its resources, causing its magnetic field to collapse and leaving it dead. Further out is the second planet, Nyx II, a large gas giant and mostly uninhabitable. Potentially we may see a floating enclosed city very similar to Orison that we see on Crusader. Judging by the colours of the clouds and its noxious atmosphere, I highly doubt that we will be walking out in the open. And finally we have Nyx III, positioned way out towards the edge of the system, a barren and icy planet. Situated fairly central to Nyx is the system's main feature, a vast asteroid belt called the Glacium Ring. This is the true heart of the Nyx system, containing untold resources and, most importantly, Delamar, which is shown as a planet on the star map but is actually an enormous asteroid, home to the famous Levski landing zone station. And that brings us back to talking about Levski. For those who haven't had the chance to visit, it's a great example of environmental storytelling. It's not a polished modern space station, it's a sprawling industrial city carved directly into rock and stone. Its corridors are tight, its common areas are vast excavated caverns, and every surface feels functional and lived in, from the bustling marketplaces to iconic spots like the Grand Bar. Levski feels like a believable functioning outpost out on the edge of space. So what can we expect to actually do in Nyx? The system's design creates the perfect ecosystem for emergent gameplay. At the very base level, and probably key to Nyx, is the industrial gameplay. The massive asteroid belt and the mined out husk of Nyx I could be a paradise for miners and salvagers. We can expect the resources found here to be highly valuable and possibly unique to the system, which will attract solo operators and large organizations alike. This naturally creates the next loop, the high value hauling and smuggling. Getting those valuable and unrefined materials out of lawless Nyx and into UEE systems to sell will be risky, but incredibly profitable. Haulers will need to be fast, discreet, or extremely well defended. And of course, where there's profit, there's piracy. Nyx is set to be a pirate's haven. Player-run pirate outfits will thrive in setting up ambushes in the dense asteroid belt, blockading jump points, and preying on industrial ships and haulers as they go about their business. And of course, this creates a counter loop of the bounty hunting and security. With a high concentration of outlaws, Nyx will be a prime hunting ground for bounty hunters. We can also expect player organizations to form security forces, offering to escort haulers through the system for probably a substantial fee. The final layer on top of all of that is the growing threat of the Vanduul, offering a dedicated PvE combat experience for those looking to fight a different kind of enemy. All those interlocking professions could make Nyx a living sandbox of conflict and opportunity. So the potential arrival of Nyx is more than just a new map to explore. It represents the introduction of a truly distinct region of space. It's a system with a rich history of rebellion, designed for lawless emerging gameplay, and now with the added threat of the Vanduul lurking just one jump away, Nyx could be a very popular destination indeed. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Which of these gameplay loops are you most excited to jump into in Nyx? How far away do you think Nyx is actually from being released? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm always open to a discussion and I love hearing your guys' thoughts. And finally, of course, if you found yourself enjoying the video, found it useful, or you learned something, consider subscribing for more Star Citizen content in the future. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.